Ship's log, January 22nd, Koh Samui. So, Koh Samui is a little island off the southern coast of Thailand. Thailand is a long and skinny country, and it's off of the eastern side. So, Koh Samui looks of shape is a little bit like Spain, and it's a really nice little island. It has at least four beautiful temples. We went to four of them over the course of about a day. The first one had a mummy. Where he had sunglasses, I think because mummy eyes scare people. Also, there was a statue of the guy who was mummified right in front of it, as well as a photograph. The temples are absolutely gorgeous, even the simpler ones. That one had a parade float of Garuda and a large Naga on the exact opposite end of it. One thing that was notable about each of the temples, you have to take off your shoes to go inside, and also there's a bunch of rules for what kind of clothing you wear. You have to wear long sleeve or long pants and sleeves of some kind. I'm not entirely certain how that works for the monks because I don't think they wear sleeves on one side, but I assume if you're wearing nice religious clothing, they're probably not going to say anything. So on the shuttle, I actually ran into Tom and Scott again, the people that we met from the hotel who are Canadians. They're absolutely wonderful. It's nice to meet people multiple times on the boat because it turns out that certain people have common interests with you, right? You know, they go on the same excursions or that sort of thing. That's pretty cool. I also met the two other young people at the boat at a young person's meetup. Um, so yeah, that's they're one of them was 28. I think the other one was his early 30s, and I think I saw some kids on the boat at some point, but I would say over 99% of the boat is over the age of 60. Um, so on the so continuing with Sumai, I saw another next temple I went to was entirely dedicated to snakes. It had big long snakes that went down a staircase to the sea, where I finally got to touch the ocean, where it's quite warm and it's not particularly salty. It has very coarse sand. On the staircase, you see these giant snakes as you're coming back up. It's absolutely great. When you go into the temple itself, every single inch is used for some kind of decoration, usually one that's not repeating. It's absolutely gorgeous. The third temple that we went to had a giant golden Buddha. That one is not an active temple, I think, because it had a market in it. It's where I got the fridge magnet, and that one is right underneath an airplane flight line. So you'll see an airplane coming down 100 feet above you while you're on this massive temple right next to this massive statue. So I'm sure that people on the plane, or at least the pilot, can see the temple when they're going down to land. The fourth one had even more detail. It literally had two gigantic statues, one of which is the smiling Buddha, as they call him, the one that has the big belly, and one of the smaller statues of him, the belly had been rubbed a whole bunch of times. You could tell because it's a different color. At each of the temples, I saw a lot of cats and dogs. I think that they're like associated with the temples as ways of keeping, say, pests out. Also, many of the temples were also schools, which I found interesting, and they were actively in session as well. So you would see 100 students and kids sitting around the temple on their phones, playing music and that sort of thing. So, yeah, when I went into the temple though for that one, it looked like the inside of a church. It had what looked like depictions of parables of the Buddha all over it. Its ceiling, its walls, everywhere, and of course a giant statue in the middle. The number of Buddha statues that I think I've seen over the past couple of days is probably numbered in the hundreds, depending on what you count as whether it's a complete statue or one that's damaged. There are quite a few older ones, of course. And then the final thing I saw was an 18-armed Buddha statue that was 30 feet tall, and each arm had a different thing in it. And the whole platform is also right on the water line too, in some sort of pond. The pond's completely filled with some kind of catfish. It's absolutely gorgeous. I loved it. So Sumai, absolutely wonderful place to visit. When I was driving around, or when I was being driven around the town, I Saw a whole. I also saw some notable things. A lot of advertisements for Muay Thai fights. Muay Thai is very popular here, of course, in Thailand. And I also saw about 10 different dispensaries. So that one was surprising. And, despite that, I'm visiting Thailand where weed is legal and going to Holland, America, or Holland, America is flagged in the Netherlands, right? So it's kind of surprising that you can't bring it on the ship, but I guess there's a lot of rules involving Cambodia and Vietnam, and they probably just don't want to figure out what they're going to do when they dock in China, of course. So they don't want people to bring drugs on the boat. That would be completely inappropriate. It makes sense to me. I get it. They don't want to deal with complex laws, but it's interesting. It's interesting to see how the legal frameworks work out in places like this, right? And also to see how Thailand is kind of adapted in a situation in a similar way to the U.S. Has, or at least in the state of, say, Oregon, where they're just everywhere. Compare that to, say, California, where they're kind of hidden and you might see one occasionally. It's interesting to see how the different legal frameworks work out as you see things change in society. So, yeah, the weather here has been absolutely wonderful too. It was a bright, sunny day. I got to have a great time. Pretty much enjoyed the whole thing, and it was absolutely wonderful. The only thing I'm missing is I haven't been able to eat any Thai food, but that happened in Singapore too somehow. So at least I've had great Indian food while I've been in Southeast Asia, so that's wonderful. And I can't really complain about the ship's food. The ship's food's actually quite good. So yeah,